Welcome to Good Evening KU Sports. I'm Jaden Hill, your host for all things in the sports world. Emma Noble is here to talk to us about Jayhawk baseball. She gives us a quick recap of the Carbach Classic last weekend, where KU started strong with a win against Texas State, but was not able to keep the momentum going. However, the tournament did give us a look at the players, and Emma highlights Cody Shojinaga and Jason Reed as players to keep an eye out for. Take it away, Emma.
Thanks, Jaden. Good afternoon, Jayhawks. With the weather being nothing short of perfect this week, I figured it was time I talked about some spring sports. And what better way to get into the swing of spring than with some KU baseball? The Carbach Classic kicked off this past weekend with the Jayhawks playing down in good old Texas. They opened up the tournament against Texas State, where they scored 7-2. Their next opponent was Washington State, where they fell short of winning that game. Then they also fell short against Kentucky, but that's all right because we got plenty of season ahead of us. Now, allow me to personally introduce you to some of the guys on the team and the crazy titles they hold. Starting off strong with sophomore Cody Shojinaga. During his freshman year, Shojinaga was an All-American. He was also named Big 12 Co-Freshman of the Year and set a Kansas freshman record with a .378 batting average. This year, he was on the preseason All-Big 12 team, Big 12 Co-Player of the Week, and is ranked 17 as an MLB draft prospect. Jansen Reeder is next on my list on players you need to know. Reeder was named All-Big 12 first-team designated hitter last season and led the team in slugging percentages with .558% and hit by pitches with a grand total of 10. Now that we're all familiar with one another, let's get into some stats. Last Sunday, KU played UIC in 2 games, losing the first but winning the second with a final score of 8-2. They then powered over Texas A&M Corpus Christi Islanders last Tuesday, taking the win with a score of 13-7. On March 1st, the baseball boys will kick off their spring season home opener at Hoagland Park, playing Texas Southern. Make sure you're taking advantage of this lovely weather and go enjoy a game. That's all for me. Now I'm going to throw it over to Josh for an update on the Jayhawks in the NBA.
Hello everyone, I'm Josh Rubin, and today we're going to talk about the Jayhawks that have been making some noise in the NBA. There are 13 active Jayhawks in the NBA, but one stands above the rest. Mr. Joel Trust the Process Embiid. The reigning MVP has been tearing it up this year, and I mean that literally because he recently tore his meniscus and is expected to miss 6 to 8 weeks. But before that, Joel Embiid was the frontrunner for MVP. This is due to his ridiculous stats he's been pulling up. Joel is averaging a league-leading 35 points this year while snagging 11 rebounds a game. Truly some video game numbers. The highlight of Joel's season came on January 23rd when he put up a whopping 70 points in a win against Wemby and the Spurs. It's truly a performance for the record books. Now next up, let's talk about Joel's teammate who is having himself a sneaky, impressive season. Some people call him the Beautiful Bucket. Others call him Tsunami Papi. I call him Kelly Oubre. Oubre is putting up 14 points per game while shooting a career-high 46% from the field. Pretty impressive stats for someone who was picked up super late in free agency this offseason. Now listen to this. Ochai Agbaji was recently traded to the Toronto Raptors. This means Och now has the opportunity to play with Grady Dick. That could be a pretty scary backcourt if you ask me. Grady and Och have both seen some struggles up to this point, but it's very early in their careers and Toronto is entering a rebuild, so they will have plenty of opportunities to carve out a serious role in the Six. Now let's head over to Denver to talk about Christian Braun. CB had an electric rookie season, bringing home an NBA championship for Denver. He has since carved out a role as a high-energy role player, helping the big guys like Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. He's averaging 7 points per game while racking up about 3.5 rebounds, and those numbers might not sound impressive, but his play has been. I'll tell you this, CB never forgets to remind us that white men can jump, just not me or anyone I know. It's amazing to see the Jayhawks thrive at the highest level. That's all I have, and we'll be back to you right after this quick break.
Yeah, I always just clap at the start.
This is where everyone's talking amongst themselves. Do you know how to do it? Do you know how to do it?
Are we supposed to smile?
When do we start? Somebody over here already started.
Can we talk about the piccolo part? It's the most complicated one.
It is.
If you listen, you're doing it when the band's not playing.
You have to tell me when it starts. I still don't know.
Here we go.
Just clapping now.
No humps.
Nailed it.
I practiced this morning.
Mine was just two people.
It has a right and a wrong way of doing it. No. Wrong.
I like my way better.
I don't know how to
1,
do
2,
the
3,
end.
4.
It's just I don't know the
Sorry.
head.
It's hard by yourself.
Since professional baseball is coming up in only a few short weeks, we want to get your baseball gears turning. Cooper Hannon has come up with a quiz that encompasses all things baseball. So lock in, write down your answers, and best of luck. Here's Cooper to get us started.
What's going on, Jayhawks? Today I have a special MLB quiz with the MLB coming up in just a short couple of weeks. All right, so without further ado, I'm Cooper Hannon. Let's go meet our contestants. Who we have here and where you're from?
Yeah, from South Korea.
Okay, and what's your name?
Chanu. Nice to
Chanu.
meet you.
All right, what do we got here?
I'm Tyler Brewer, and I'm from Waverly, Nebraska.
All right, well, nice to meet you, fellas. Now let's get to it. Question 1. Who was traded from the Red Sox to the Yankees in exchange for cash and changing baseball forever? Top 4 questions are here. Answers. Buzz it in when you have the answer. Tyler?
Buzz. I'm gonna go C. Babe Ruth.
C. Babe Ruth. Well, let's find out if that's right. Correct. You are correct. You are now on the board with 1 point. Let's move on to question 2. Which of these players were not Rookie of the Year finalists this past season? We have Corbin Carroll, James Outman, Kodai Senga, and Jordan Walker.
I don't know.
Give it your best shot, guys.
I think I got it.
He's got it?
I think I'm gonna go D. Jordan Walker.
Jordan Walker? Well, you are, once again, correct. Tyler, you're up 2-0. Channel, you gotta pick it up, man. Come on, here we go. Which of these players were not signed by the Dodgers this offseason?
Chanu, maybe D. Oscar Hernandez.
Unfortunately,
maybe?
you are correct. Tyler will give you one more chance to steal and take this point.
You know, the other two are pretty big free agents, so I'm gonna go C. Tyler Glasnow.
That is correct. Tyler Glasnow was actually traded for and then extended. So here we go. Question 4, which of these juniors is the youngest out of the bunch? We have Ronald Acuna Jr., Vladimir Guerrero
You get
Jr.,
that?
Fernando Tatis Jr., and Bobby Witt Jr.
Chanu,
Yes, sir.
D. Bobby Witt Jr. for
You
sure.
are correct.
Yeah.
You are on the
Maybe
board.
he's-
3-1. Hey, you can make a comeback. All right, here we go. Which of these players have not won a World Series MVP? We have Corey Seager, Jose Altuve, Steve Pearce, or Steven Strasburg.
Give me Steve Pierce.
Steve Pearce
Are you
is
sure?
incorrect. So you do have one shot to steal and take this point away.
I would say D. Stephen Strasburg.
Unfortunately, neither you guys are correct. It was Jose Altuve. You might think he would have, but he doesn't. Question 6. Which of these California teams have not won a World Series? We have the Angels, the Padres, the Giants, and the Dodgers.
Chanu, Angels for sure.
Really? The Angels do have a World Series ring. Would you like to steal and take this point away?
I'll steal and go Padres.
You are correct. It is the Padres. You're up 4-1. However, this question is worth 5 points, folks. I know. Sit down and get a ride for this one.
Thank you.
Where will the first MLB game of the season take place? Now remember, this is a trick question. We have the Go Check Sky Dome, Citi Field, Angel Stadium, and Tokyo Dome.
Chanu,
Yes.
because I'm South Korean, so I know well.
You know it?
Yeah.
And what do you got to say?
Go Chuck Sky Dome.
You are correct. He steals and he takes the victory. Wow, what a thrilling game. I hope you guys loved it. And that's going to be the end for us. Thank you.
Missed the bus again? Yeah. You should download My Bus Lawrence. You can see when buses are arriving here, and you can also see where the buses are in Lawrence. Wow, okay. Download the My Bus Lawrence app today.
From adversity, we rose. We made history and became pioneers, voyagers, champions, Jayhawks. And when our chant rises, haunting and hallowed, Jayhawks are telling the world what's near. Victory.
I don't know about you, but I definitely missed a couple of those questions. But moving on from baseball, let's talk football. Jacob Johnson is going to walk us through extended college football playoffs, and Tyler Brewer gives us a rundown of what the top teams have done when it comes to recruiting. Tyler starts here at home with the Jayhawks, then moves to the Bulldogs, and finally the Cornhuskers. What can you tell us, Tyler?
Yeah, thank you, Jaden. Spring signing day for college football was just a few weeks ago, which means there's no better time than right now to look at some of the top programs from across the country and see how they did with recruiting. Let's start with the hometown team, the Kansas Jayhawks. The Jayhawks have been one of the most impressive teams in the country over the past few seasons, going from a 2-win season in 2021 to back-to-back bowl games. There's no doubt that the Jayhawks have been getting it done on the field. But the winning doesn't stop there, because off the field, the Jayhawks are making moves. They've secured a top 5 class in the Big 12, which includes 3 4-star athletes. And on top of that, the Jayhawks are building a brand new stadium set to be ready by the year 2025. It's clear the Jayhawks are trying to establish themselves as a force to be reckoned with both now and in the future. But moving on, the Georgia Bulldogs have been one of the most dominant teams in the nation for the past 3 years now, with back-to-back national championships and arguably being robbed of a chance to three-peat last season. The Bulldogs dynasty is here, and Georgia's dominance can largely be credited to their recruiting dominance. This year, the Bulldogs secured yet another top 5 recruiting class in the nation. Kirby Smart has undeniably built one of the greatest dynasties in college football history, and unless the NFL lures him away, it's unlikely this football empire falls anytime soon. Now let's talk about a college football blue blood that's trying to work their way back up from rock bottom. The Nebraska Cornhuskers' fall from greatness should be studied for how bad things have gotten. The Huskers have only managed to get 5 wins twice in the past 7 seasons. This makes them signing a top 20 recruiting class that much more impressive. And while Nebraska is nowhere near competing with top schools like Georgia on the field, off the field's a different story, as the Huskers have been competing and won some recruiting battles against the Bulldogs. For example, the headliner for this year's recruiting class was 5-star quarterback Dylan Raiola, and he could have gone wherever he wanted. However, he chose the Huskers over the Bulldogs. So say what you want, but it's clear that Matt Rhule is doing everything he can to bring the Cornhuskers back to greatness. I hope you enjoyed my recruiting recap for these 3 teams. That'll be all from me today. Now let's send it to Jacob with his story on the college football playoff.
Thank you, Brewer. The College Football Playoff Board of Managers unanimously approved of a 5-7 playoff format that will feature the 5 highest conference champions and 7 at-large teams. Before this change, back in 2014, the CFP was born with a 4-team playoff, which featured the 4 highest-ranked teams. Yet, over the past decade since, there's been a lack of variety in the teams in the playoffs, who have mostly been dominated by Alabama, Clemson, and Ohio State, and most recently Georgia, who won back-to-back national titles. And last year, in 2023, the playoff committee decided it was time to change, so they moved to a 6-6 format, which featured the 6 highest conference champions and 6 at-large teams. This format was implemented to give each Power 5 conference champion a bid in the playoff, plus a group of 5 team. Yet, this format was put in place before the collapse of the Pac-12. Oregon, Washington, UCLA, and USC were joining the Big Ten this year, as long as Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah, who are joining the Big 12, and Cal and Stanford joining the ACC. Now that there is no longer a Power 5, but a Power 4, the playoff format was then moved to 5-7, still giving a group of 5 a team a chance to make the playoff. All this news is sure to make a lot of fan bases and teams happy, as teams like Penn State, USC, and Oklahoma State, who are consistently in the top 10, but have yet to make a playoff appearance. That's all I have today. Now it's going to be back to our host, Jaden, for the close.
Thanks, Jacob. That's some great information, and lots going on with football right now. That's all we have for this week's edition of Good Evening KU Sports. Follow us on Instagram at GEKU_sports and tune in every Monday at 3. Rock Chalk, and we'll see you next week.